Hey there, welcome to Life Groups. Man, I'm so glad, I'm really truly delighted that you are part of a smaller community here at Liverpool One Church. It's the best way to help make a larger and growing church feel like home because you're going to find friends that really are like family. This Sunday, we kicked off a brand new series in church called Can You Imagine? And we were speaking about the topic of conversation surrounding conflict. Because if you're anything like me, you will know that there exists pockets of conflict in all of our lives. For some of us, you know what it's like to have a little bit of conflict in the office or in the work environment. For others, relationally, things are just creating in such a way that makes you feel like, man, this is just conflict filled all of the time. For others, it's maybe in some of your social circles, but the truth is, we all know what conflict is like, but at Christmas time, it feels to me like the conflict and the tension just has the potential to simmer out of control. In fact, sometimes it boils over, and we know that because last year, when you said that thing to your dad, he got all angry and aggressive. And last year, when you said that thing to your mom, she got all upset and she ran out of the room crying. Because last year, when you said that thing to your son or daughter, they didn't speak to you for like 6 weeks. So we all know that sometimes tensions can just simmer up and boil over, especially around Christmas, because it's busy. It's hectic. The demands on our life increase. So on Sunday in church, we basically started to wonder, could you imagine a life that just had a little less conflict? Imagine how much better that would be for you and your family this Christmas. And what we actually did is we honed in on the words and teachings of Christ when he says, you should love your enemies. Easier to read than it is to actually implement, I get it. And then we picked up a passage of Paul's writings in Romans 12, where he basically said it like this, and he's adding to the whole conversation. And he's like, you can't repay evil with evil, but instead you should act in a way that is honorable. As a man, be honorable. As a woman, be honorable. And how this really isn't a choice that you can just plug and play if you choose, but rather this is instructional. Like it's down to us now with our actions and the way in which we react and respond to people to represent God, our Father in heaven. So I think that what I would like us to do is remember this term this Christmas. How can you, when you're challenged to go into a conversation that's full of conflict, how can you respond responsibly, not reasonably? Because I get it. Oftentimes it's reasonable to give them a piece of your mind. It's just not helpful. So how can you respond responsibly that's more in alignment with what Romans teaches us in chapter 12? How can you respond in a way that understands that you and I, as followers of Christ, have now been entrusted with the responsibility through our actions, reactions, and way in which we respond when people are unkind, unfair, and oftentimes unreasonable? How can we respond in a way that reflects the Father heart of God? How can we respond in a way that demonstrates his character? So what was his character? He loved us even whilst we were still his enemy. So maybe we can do that with the people that are in our circles and our world this season. And imagine what your life would look like with just a little less conflict. So my first question of the evening is this: have you ever struggled to deal with conflict? And how typically would you behave and deal with it? And maybe moving forward, what can you do that could see that resulting in a better platform for you to live life and do work with just a little less conflict? How are you going to implement that scripture? Have a great evening together, guys.